Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. Today I'm undertaking a big task. I am going to be mixing paint. I thought I'd share it with y'all because I don't mix paint very often, and when I do, it's usually not online. So today I am short some colors in paint, so I'm going to be going over some of my paints. That's what mostly this video is going to be about, is mixing and trying out some of my colors to see where I stand on the color of it. The pigmentation, is it too dark, too light? Is the color way off? I was mixing some colors, and I have several jars of red colors. And I was mixing these colors by mixing a lot of different colors together. And then I decided I didn't like them. And some of them were too harsh. So I did doctor them a bit, but I'm still not sure they're right. What's this? Oh, that's matte varnish. I've got several different things of colors. This is the red I'm currently using. These are two reds I already had mixed. I did doctor them a little, so they're very full now. But this is the one I'm currently using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to test them out on a practice kit. I don't think I have a practice kit that's big enough to really test paint on, but I probably need to break out something and get a practice kit. This is an empty jar. Here's another. These were the ones that had the paint in it when it was too dark, and I was pouring it off in these trying to cut it some more, and I don't know. And this is the yellow I usually use. I don't have much of it. I really freaking don't even know what this is. It's garbage. It's what it looks like to me. Oh, yeah, I remember what this is. It's too light's what it is. This is some of that Genesis paint that I had mixed with some glazing gel many long years ago. It's very globby and very granulated. It's got granules all in it, and I couldn't smooth them out. It had gotten so thick and gummy that I had it in a jar, and I was going to throw it away, and I was going to try to reconstitute it first, and this is the best I could do in reconstituting it, which isn't very good. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. And then I have my purple. I love eyelid purple. This is my eyelid purple. I don't have very much of it at all, because basically I don't hardly ever use it, even though I love it. And here's an empty jar that had something in it. Oh, it had a color in it, but I don't know what it was. What was that color? Flesh? A flesh color? I don't know. But anyway, and then I have the colors that I'm currently using. Here's the 05. Here's the blush. And here's the warm blush. Now I do have this other warm blush here that I mixed. I like to mix in a different jar than the one I paint from, because like I've said on many different occasions, what I usually do is I mix it dark, because I don't want to mix as often as you might need to. So I want to make it darker than it needs to be, so that when I do pour it in here, this is only 4 ounces, but it'll probably mix 8 ounces when I pour it in here and put some more paint thinner in it. And I just had a brainstorm. Y'all are going to think I'm crazy. I really don't like this Tracy kit. I think I'll use him for a practice kit. I think his limbs are all right. He's got some nice, chunky, fat little limbs. They're pretty okay, but the actual head itself, I don't care for it. I don't think that, I don't remember what I paid for this kit, but I'm sure it wasn't much. I wouldn't buy a kit like this if it was expensive, because I don't like it. So if I use it for, it's already sealed. So, you know, this kit's the wrong color. I don't like it because it's the wrong color to test my paint on. There's very little to this kit, and it's already been stripped a bunch of times and has color all over it. So trying to use those to test all these paints out isn't going to be very productive, in my opinion. So I am going to start with the paint that I already have mixed. These are the colors I'm normally using right now. And I'm going to put some onto the kit and see how dark they are compared to the other colors I want to use. That's how I usually test if my color is correct, by comparing it to a color I already have that I like. Now, this is a nice color. It's just the right consistency to me. I'm going to use a sponge like I always do to apply it. I'm going to pounce it around like I always do when I paint. And I'm going to just pick an area on the doll to do each color. And then when I'm finished, I'm not going to bake it because I know what it looks like unbaked. I know if it's the right color. I know if it's the right consistency. I know if it's too thick or too thin. I know all that stuff already. So I'm first going to put the test color. This is the test color. This is the color I like and the color I would like to achieve going forward in my paint colors. So here we go. I am going to put a little bit of this on this sponge, and I'm going to have to use a different sponge to put the color I'm testing next to this. But see, I'm just going to put a little on the head like that. And no, there's no color underneath it, so it's just going to be this one color. And then I'm going to put the next color right beside it right here and see how it compares. And that's this one, which I think is too dark. Just by looking at it, it looks a little too dark. I do have another, I'm going to get another sponge is what I'm going to get. I do have another paintbrush I can use so I don't get a color that's too dark on the paintbrush I'm currently painting. It doesn't matter if I make squares on the head, I'm not going to rip it. This is a test. So I have this other paintbrush I can, well, that's the wrong color. Duh. Okay. Let's get that off and go to this one. That won't matter. That tiny bit on there will mix in with this other and it won't make any difference. Oh, that looks dark, doesn't it? Okay, here we go. We're going to put this right beside this other color and we're going to see how it compares. Well, it's very runny for one thing. I'm just going to dab it around and it's much darker in my opinion. But it's not severely darker. I can just put a little more paint thinner in it and it will be fine. So that's good. I'm going to put some more paint thinner in it now. And then, this is one of the things I do to keep from having to have a difference in the paint. I will mix this color with that color. And then it will be pretty much the same color. Does that make sense to y'all? So I'm just going to do this like that. And that is way too full. And look at that. There's paint in the bottom of this thing that didn't get dissolved well. Okay, so I'm going to take my bulb syringe. This is one thing these are good for. I'm going to just siphon out a whole bunch of this paint and put it back in this jar. Yeah, this takes a little while, but pouring it is like a can of worms. You're going to have a lot of spillage and a lot of heartache because you had a lot of spillage. So we don't want that. I don't want the jar to be that full. It's just harder to use out of and not spill it and not make a mess and all that stuff. So I'm just putting a little bit of it back into here to give it just a little headroom in the jar. And you can just do this. It doesn't take that long until you have enough of it out where it's always good to have a little extra anyway. If you're running out and you're getting close to the end and you go, I don't want to mix paint today, so I'm going to use this. And then it just wasn't quite enough. You have this little bit in this other jar you can use to tide you over until you want to mix the paint. That's pretty good. About half a jar over here and about 2/3 of a jar over here, I guess. I don't know. Now see, I'm not going to wash that. I'm just going to put it right back in that thing and let it dry. Now I'm going to put some of this on here and I'm going to see if it's any lighter. It does look lighter already. Yes, it's lighter. That's much better. Yes, I like that color. Much, much lighter. Maybe too light. I don't know. If you think your paint's too light, just let it sit for a little while. I can already tell the paint thinner's coming to the top in this jar right here. And that's what's going to happen. The paint thinner is going to come to the top. Then you can just superficially stick your bulb syringe in there and siphon off a little bit of that paint thinner, and it's automatically darker. So if you think it's too light. But it doesn't need to be super dark. It's definitely lighter than this color and a whole lot lighter than that color. But anyway, now I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to wet it. I could probably still reborn Cutie. I want to call this kit Tracy, and I don't know why. I did have a Tracy kit. Equally funny looking to me. You can just wipe almost all of this off. See, it's not been baked, so it's not permanent. And after you wipe it all off, the kit is pretty much just like it was. Very, 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 very clean. So see, you can use it for your test kit. I used to do it all the time. I'd use a kit for my test kit, and I'd do it over and over and over again and I even baked it on. I even baked the test kit to see how it would look. But then I wasn't that familiar with how a kit's going to look wet as compared to how it's going to look dry at all. I wasn't at all familiar with it. So I'm going to put those back, and I'm going to put the lid back on this. This is the one I'm using from, and this is the one that is extra. I'm just going to keep it as extra because, well, it's already got paint in it, and it's the same color as this one, which is good because, like I said, you're using out of your jar you used from, and it begins to get low, and you're going, I don't know if that's enough or not. See, it's leaking because that's what paint does in these jars. It leaks. That's why I don't like it so full. You tilt it just a little bit and it leaks. I may siphon a little more out of that. Don't know yet. That's the one I'm using, so I'm going to put it up there. This is my extra one. I'm going to put it back on the shelf. Now, we're going to move to the red. I have numerous red jars. Numerous. I'm going to throw this one away because, well, I don't know. I'm throwing this one away because it's got that darker color in it. Numerous red jars because, like I said, I was using numerous different colors. I had mixed them with many different colors trying to get a red that I liked because Gemini red is too pink in my opinion. And so I wanted to have a red that was closer to the Genesis red. I like this color right here. And I believe with all my heart, you know, I mix so many different colors that I don't really know for sure. I'm going to lay out 3 sponges because I'm going to test these 3 colors. I'm going to test this color that I've been using against those 2 jars that I brought out to see if they're anything alike. Now, I already know I can use one of these brushes to test this one. Let's see. Really and truly, you can use any paintbrush to test any color, but you risking getting a color in there you don't want. Okay, I'm going to go up a little higher up here. This is the color that I currently have, and it's running everywhere. And, of course, this color is going to look different when it's baked. But I already know this is a color I like, and I can see what color it looks like on this doll, and I can move on to the next color. The fact that I dabbed that with this sponge is not going to hurt the sponge a bit. I'm going to use this color now. This is purpley looking. I'm just afraid I can't fix these colors into a color I like. So, I'm poised and ready to throw them out if they're not going to come out good. Okay, here we go. We're going to dip this one in here and mix it around real good. Now, if I like this color, I may go to using it. Let's see. Ooh, that is very, very, very dark. Look at that color. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's see. I am going to put some... Oh, no. No. That can't happen. That is extremely too dark. I don't care what amount of dabbing you do. That's got granules in it and everything. What an ugly color. Okay. Sorry, but I'm pouring that one out. where's that coffee can? I'm going to be getting a coffee can. And I'm going to pour that one out. That is, bad. Try to rinse that brush out. Yep, this one's going. If I didn't need the jar so bad, I'd just put the whole thing in the garbage. I think I will. Oh, that is just too bad to try to fix. Too bad. Not trying to fix that. Okay, next color. I'm trying to rinse this color out of this brush. It is so dark and so terrible. I just don't know if I can. That was a terrible, terrible color. Not only was it too dark, and I did extremely cut it with paint thinner. Extremely. Not only did I do that, but I still can't reconcile that color, I don't think. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty clean. Okay. Now I'm going to try this color. Oh, please don't be like that. Oh, that lid is on there. When these jars are new, these seals are real good and they don't leak then. But after you've used them a long time, they start to leak. I bet this one's every bit as harsh as that one. Yep, look at that. Extreme, extreme. Look at that. There is no way I'm ever going to get that to a color I want to use. Ever. I don't think. I just don't think that I can. Here we go. I don't want to waste all this paint thinner and then it not ever get to a color I can use. That's why I threw that other one away. It's too much. The pigment is way too dark in there. And there's no way that's going to probably never get any better. Well, that's a little better already. Let's see, cutie. What can we do to you now? There might be some hope for this color. There just might be. It doesn't have granules like that other color did. That's why I was willing to try to cut it down. I think that might be okay. We might save this one. That other one though, no way. There was no way. This one is still highly pigmented. What it is when I say highly pigmented, I don't mean the color is too dark. I mean it has too much paint in it. Having too much paint in it is its own problem all by itself. You can actually have a light color and it'll have too much paint in it. It makes the paint look chalky, fake, grainy, all different things. You see not much of this red's coming off because it's so highly pigmented that it just took right to the vinyl straight away. Now this is the back of the head, so there is a chance I could still reborn this kit, and if I give it hair, you wouldn't be able to tell that it ever had any paint on it before, if I decide I want to reborn it. And I might still do it because, after all, like I said, it's going to get hair. Very weird kit. Okay, I'm going to tear this piece off because it's got too much paint on it. And I don't like putting my arms down. I put my arms down on the table and I put it down right on paint a lot of times. And I don't like doing that because, well, it's paint. And paint thinner and all that stuff. So here we go. I am going to move these back, and now we're going to be mixing some paint. Now when you're mixing paint, once again, you need to test it out. Unless you can just tell that it's your most perfect color, you're going to need to test it out because you want it to be close to the color you're already using, unless you don't like that color. If you're going, I'm going to use this up, but when I mix new, I'm going to make it darker or lighter or a different hue of color, whatever the thing is you want to do. So that's what you want to go with. You want to go with, I didn't test this out and I was going to. Well, I'll get to it. You want to go with something you already know. Now these I'm going to try. This one has granules in the jar. You can see them stuck to the jar. So we're going to try to clean this jar. Well, we're not without paper towels, that's for sure. I don't have any on either side of the table. Never fear. New roll is here. I just use the cheapest paper towels I can get because, well, you're just going to do this and throw it away. We're not trying to scrub our rug or anything. You know, in those commercials where they scrub a rug with it or something, who really does that? Nobody's going to scrub their rug with a paper towel. That's just ridiculous. Yes, this is very thick and globby. I'll get as much of it out as I can. We don't want granules in our new paint. Then I am also going to wipe this lid as much as I can, because all these different additives that are in the paint, basically it's exodus oil and thinning medium, are going to be transferred to the new jar. And even though I'm going to put those in, I want to put them in the right quantities that I like, and not have just a huge amount of globby stuff on the lid. I am making such a royal mess. I do have paper towels, and they do come in very handy when you get paint all over your hands. I want y'all to know, I wanted to tell y'all this is kind of gross, but okay. I was rooting my doll, and I was watching videos at the same time I'm rooting my doll. And even though we should be looking at what we're doing, I was looking at the video. So what happens? I stabbed my finger. And when I say I stabbed my finger, I mean I stabbed my finger. Oh my goodness. The needle went completely through my finger and through my fingernail. Yes, indeed, it did that. And this was a couple days ago, so it's had a little time to heal, but it is extremely sore still. But what happened was, you know, those needles have barbs on them. The barbs are made to catch hair, not your finger. They're not made to catch your flesh. But it caught mine. Let me tell you, it was not a happy day. I was almost screaming. It was hurting so bad. Now I need to find my colors. I did have one that said reds on it, but I think I've moved them to another jar. I have gotten rid of all the red colors I don't like. I now use Ethnic Lip Nail and Blush. It's a darker brownish color. It darkens up the Pyro Red to the right color. Pyro Red is close to the color I like. It's just a little too light. I'm trying to find one that's already open. I think one of them is. I don't like opening more than one container. That one's, I can tell by how hard it is to get the top off, it's not opened. And that one's not either. How about this one? I might have one laying out. This one feels like it's open. Oh, the lid's not attached down good. That's why. Not because it's already been used out of. These are all new, I think. That one may not be. The top's too dirty. Yep, that one's been used out of. Alrighty, we'll be using that one. Yep. I have several others, but that's the Ethnic Lip Nail and Blush. I just add enough of that to it to darken it a bit. This may be the Pyro Red I'm looking for right here. And it is. Okay. They have different Pyro Reds, and they are numbered just like the flesh colors. The darker the color, the lower the number. So this is Pyro Red number 2. If they have a 1, I've never seen it. But this is a dark, dark, bloody looking red. Even at this dark of a color, it comes out pinky looking. It has a pinkish hue to it that I don't like. You can't tell it right now, but if I was to just mix just this color, you'd be able to tell it. So I add some of this dark brown, brownish red, ethnic lip, nail, and blush color is just enough to darken it up to a color that actually looks like a color you'd want to put on your doll. Believe it or not, they go well together. This is a brownie red kind of. I don't know. It's kind of a, I don't know. I don't know what you call that color. I just call it ethnic lip, nail, and blush, because the lip, nail, and blush you get for Caucasian babies is way too pink. It is so, so pink. Now for this, I like to use a throwaway brush. And the reason for that is you can't really get enough on this toothpick to do any good. And if you try to go at this paint, this concentrated paint with one of your good brushes, it's just globbed in between all of the little bristles of your brush, and you have to clean that out. And if you don't, you're going to get some huge dark streak on your doll that you're not going to like. So I just use these and throw them out when I'm finished. And what I usually do is I start with the Exodus oil. This is some valuable oil. Before I ever heard of Exodus oil, people were using linseed oil. Not the same thing. I didn't like the effects of the linseed oil. It doesn't do the same thing, in my opinion, that this Exodus oil does. This is just some kind of oil. I don't know what it's actually made out of, but they claim it's non-toxic. It's not dangerous in any way. So I put a healthy big squirt. Some people just put 1 or 2 drops. But for it to do its job, I think you need a healthy big squirt. So I just put a healthy big squirt in there. I'm going to try to mix this whole thing. So I want to have enough in there. What it does for me, this is what I want it to do. Not only does it make the paint super, super smooth and spreadable, it also takes away a lot of the lumps and the granules. It just liquefies the paint down to a liquid, if you will. And instead of this globby, thick stuff, it's just going to turn it into something wonderful. So I'm going to throw that toothpick away. All I use them for is to mix the paint. Now I'm just going to get some try to get it just on the bristles, because if you get it all over the paintbrush, that's wasted. Okay. I'm going to smear it on the side of the container like this, because I want to be able to spread it a little at a time. So as soon as I think I have enough, I'm going to start spreading it into that Exodus oil. Now, if I start using this in the Exodus oil, I'm probably not going to use it again in the paint, but this can be my mixing brush. So you see how pink that's turning? It's just turning a pinky color. That is too pink for me. Now, it's true, the more you put in there, the darker it will be. But it doesn't change the actual pigment color, if you know what I mean. It's always going to have that pinky looking color to it. Even if it is thicker and darker, it's still going to have, it's like, let's say you're using sky blue. You can't turn it to navy blue, no matter how much of it you put in there. It'll just keep getting more and more sky blue. So this is not ever going to turn into a bloody red color. It's just going to be this color the whole time. It's just will be darker. So I need to add this color to make it be the color I want. So here we go. I'm going to get some of this off. Now you don't want to add too much of any color. We don't want too much paint in our jar. But having too little paint is also a problem. Having to add paint once you put the paint thinner in because it's too light is a whole different set of problems. And that is trying to dissolve the paint. We're dissolving it right now. We're going to use a combination of Exodus oil and thinning medium to thin our paint and to make it smooth and creamy and the right color, the right consistency rather, not color. The color is determined by the colors you put in here. See, it's already getting to be a darker color now. It's not going to be so pink now because we put that darker color in it. Neither one by itself is spot on the right color, but mixed together, they are. So we're gonna do this for a couple minutes. Well, hopefully not 2 whole minutes, but we're gonna mix it around until we can't see any more lumps or any more, no granules, no little things that look like salt and pepper in the bottom of it, but will look more like pepper because it's pigmented. But you know, it's just kind of, it looks like granules of sugar, salt, whatever. It just looks colored little granules in there. I can still see some. So we know that we either would have to put more Exodus oil, or we'll have to do what I'm doing in the second step, and that's going to be put thinning medium. I use this, well, this one is empty. Are all of these empty? Did I only put empty jars up there? I guess I did. Okay, let me get out some thinning medium. I'm pretty sure I have some, I just don't know where I've put it. Here we go, thinning medium. Thinning medium is super valuable. It is super expensive if you buy it at regular price. But if you do like me and buy it only when it's on sale, you can get an excellent price. This jar of thinning medium is like 60 bucks. It might even be 69 bucks, I'm not sure. But when they put it on sale, they'll have a lot of times they'll have a site-wide sale. Sometimes they have just a Gemini sale. But when they put it on sale, it's around $35, which is much more affordable than, it's like almost half price. Depending on what the sale is, sometimes it's 50%, 60%, 40%. Any of those make an excellent price. We don't use that much of it in any one color, so it's not like you need tons and tons of it. I just buy it on sale, so I don't have to buy it at regular price. So I'll buy 3 or 4 of them. Now we need to get this rim off of, this seal off of it. So I'm just gonna put a cut in it like this, and then I'm going to peel it off. I want it to come completely off the jar. I don't like having remnants of it on the side. I want the whole thing off. So I'm just going to be pulling it and trying to tear it off. There, it's coming off now. I'm going to use this jar again, especially the ones that have thinning medium in them. You can also use the ones that had matte varnish, but you're going to want to clean as much of that out as you can. You don't have to worry about cleaning these because you're going to add thinning medium anyway, so it's not going to matter. If there's thinning medium coating the inside of the jar, well, you just don't have to add that much, you know. Now, you can use a variety of ways to get this in there. I usually just pour it. You can use a bulb syringe. You can use a paintbrush and drizzle it in, but it takes so much of it. This is too slow. See how slow that is? Too slow. So I'm just going to pour. It's messy, I know. And too much coats the inside of your bulb syringe, so it might be a good idea to mix this up. Actually, we use a popsicle stick. It also can separate and be thicker at the bottom than it is at the top. Now this might drizzle some in there. There we go. That's a whole lot better. How much of this you put is really a preference. How much of it do you want? That's one of the things you need to ask yourself. How much do you think is enough? I don't think it hurts anything to have a little extra. I just want very, very smooth and creamy paint. So I just put a good bit in there. You saw how much I put. I don't measure anything. So from one mix to the next mix, it might be completely different. This still looks too pink to me. I'm going to put a little bit more of this in there. Before we start putting our actual paint thinner in there, we need to make sure the color is something we like. Because if we don't, we're going to have watery stuff that we have to try to mix together. And trying to put this thick stuff into that watery stuff, it's not going to melt it down like it's going to melt it down right now. This is the best melting down consistency you're going to ever get right here. Now there's a lot of paint in here, but it is getting a lot darker colored, and that's what I want. Now, in order to get this to the actual darkness or lightness that we want, we may have to put some of it in another jar. That's just one of the things that we have to do sometimes. because it's too dark. So here we go. We're just going to keep mixing this around until it looks creamy and completely liquefied. It kind of has the consistency of chocolate syrup. If you ever use Hershey syrup to make chocolate milk, or you put it on your ice cream, this almost has that consistency. It's thick, but it's still runny, if that makes any sense. I'm now going to add some paint thinner to it because I think I like that color. So we're just going to add about half a jar. That's what I usually add to begin with, and then I will test it on my paper towel most of the time. Most of the time, a half a jar is a pretty good amount to put in it to be able to test it. It may be too dark, it may be too light. We don't know how it's going to be yet. But if it's too light and we're going to have to add some more paint, we're going to have to do it in another jar because we have to mix it first. Like I said, just putting a big blob of paint in here, you're probably not going to be able to dissolve it. Not very well anyway. See, that is very light. Looks very, very light to me. But just to make sure, I'm going to put a bit on one of these sponges. And I'm going to try it on Tracy, Cutie's. I want to keep wanting to call that doll Tracy. Cutie's head to see what I think. It looks very dark on the sponge, let's put it that way. Can I even get enough on here with this throwaway paintbrush to use? Let's see. Not so bad. It is dark, but it's very runny. It's not thick or globby. It's a very nice color, I think. Looks good to me. I like that color. That's a lovely color. Lovely. Liking it very much, yes. So we're going to keep that color. That is a good color. It's not pink. It's red. See, it's supposed to look like a bloody red color. That's the color you want your red to be. So basically, I put 2 big globs of this Pyro Red number 2 and 2 big globs of the Ethnic Lip Nail and Blush. I'm not going to say it was exactly half and half because it probably was not. But I don't measure, so there we go. Did I even use this brush? Oh yeah, I only stuck it in there. Okay, so we're going to keep this color. And I'm going to keep it at this consistency because who knows? We may use it at this consistency and maybe we won't. So there's 2 reds. I have 2 reds now. So now we're going to move on to another color because I want to mix different colors of paints together to get, well, I mean different paints that I'm going to use. I don't mean I'm going to mix colors together. That's the only mixing you're ever going to see me do on paint. The rest of it is just making the paint. I call it mixing paint, but I'm not actually mixing colors together. I'm using a color and making paint. The next one's going to be blue, I guess. I have 2 colors of blue. I'm going to explain them to you. I also have warm blush. I also have some yellows. Oh, crap. I hate it when one of these jars get turned sideways and then you can't get it out. There we go. Sometimes they turn sideways and then you can't get them out of the thing. I also have purple. Oh, I think I have purple. Let me look. Please be eyelid purple. It is. Oh, good. I dislike creases. It's another purple. It's a purpley red. I don't like that color. It's not the color I think creases ought to be. They do sell in ethnic creases. They sell almost all the paints that they sell in the ethnic version as well. But it's subjective to what you want to use. Which one do you want to use? How do you want to use it? What do you want to do with it? All that stuff. Now this is my yellow. It is not actually yellow. It's raw sienna. It's a beautiful color. This says yellow ochre. I don't know where I got that. I must have ordered it by accident. Raw sienna is the one I usually use. Raw sienna. Raw sienna. Okay, I don't know where I got that yellow ochre. I must have ordered it by accident. I may mix some of that up. I want to see what it looks like. The raw sienna is what I usually use. It's a brownish yellow. It's very deeper color than I would never, ever, ever put primary yellow on a doll. Plenty of people do it. It is a preference, but I would not. It is just too yellow. I've seen too many people say, oh no, look what I did to my doll. How can I fix it? And it's so yellow. And I find that when I do use yellow, that this browner yellow is much prettier, and it does the same thing that the yellow is intended to do. Mostly people who are making Caucasian dolls are putting the yellow on to simulate fat. The fatter the doll is, the more yellow that you can get away with. I don't mix much yellow because, like I said, I don't use much yellow. I very rarely even use it at all. You can use it for a variety of different things. Some people model with it. I'm just going on and putting some more Exodus oil and thinning medium right here in this same jar. And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there. And I'm going to mix it. Some people model with yellow even. I don't, but some people do. And it's fine. Whatever you want to do is fine. It's your craft, your art, your doll, your choice. I personally don't like yellow very much. I was putting it on my dolls though, because it does do something to the doll, but it's so minute that you almost feel like you're wasting your time. I mean, I do. So I don't use it a lot, but I'm going to start back using it, I think. It is a step, but the more things you do to your doll, especially in heat set. Now, air dry artists can get by with just leaving the doll sit a couple minutes and it's dry and you can do the next step. We have to bake. And there's only a certain amount of things you can do on a doll's face before you have to stop and bake, or you're going to have a mixture of colors. You might turn your yellow orange, for example. You can't put the yellow on at the same time you're putting the red on. And you can't put, different colors. You just can't put on the doll at the same time because it will have a color reaction. And we don't want that. So anyway, this is pretty much mixed. It's a little bit harder because it had some paint thinner in it. It didn't have much because, like I said, there was very little in there. I don't use a lot of yellow, so this is empty. I'm going to have to refill it. Let's see, I have another one right here. That's probably enough. This one is kind of thick. I use it kind of dark and kind of thick because if you don't, it absolutely does not show at all. And that's probably too thin, but we're going to go with it. Like I said, I don't use it very often, but when I do, I do. That's all I know. Now, the next one I'm going to do is purple. These are colors that I like. For some reason, I don't even use them. Go figure. What's the reason you don't use your your purple now? I have some purple mixed. It's very thick because it has a lot of thinning medium in it. I just drizzled some in there. It's very thick, actually. It's globby thick. And very, very dark. Oh my goodness. How in the world? The reason it's coating the jar like that is because it's so thick. It's so thick that as you shake it up and use it and stuff, it coats the inside of the jar. And then it just stays there because it's got all that thinning medium in it. And see, it just attaches it to the lid and everything. I'm going to be using more and more of these little 4-ounce jars that the thinning medium actually comes in as they get empty. I didn't used to buy them in jars that big. because they didn't offer them in jars that big. But now that they do, I'm liking those jars. I never see those jars for sale though. Now these other size jars that you can get paint in, they sell them empty. So if you want some lip color or some nail color, but you don't want a big old huge jar like this, you don't have to. You can just get one of those little jars. Like I said, you can use an empty one that you've already got that had thinning medium in it. Or even better than that, you're going to have to mix, to make your lip color, you're going to have to mix it into a jar of thinning medium. So you might as well just get a jar of thinning medium and use that to mix it. But if you don't have any thinning medium in a little jar, you can certainly use a little jar you already have and just add the thinning medium and the lip color to it. That's what I did for this jar. I just took a jar of thinning medium, took a little bit out because it goes up to the top. It's up to the very, very top when you open it. So you can't add color and mix it. It just sloshes all out. So I took some out and put it in, I don't know, a color paint, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember what I did. And then I just put the color in there and mixed it up with a toothpick. So that works. Anyway, purple. That's the color I'm trying to make here. I want to put some more Exodus oil in there. Purple is a color that was a lot of Exodus oil. I don't know why I put so much. Purple is a color that you will use if you choose to. And you can use it a lot. People model with it. People do enhancements with it. Basically, any color that you, in any part of the doll that you want to stand out and look, it's a darkening color. If you put it underneath paint, it will usually make the paint darker. So if your doll has an expressive look on their face and you like it and you want it to show more, you would want to put a little purple on them because it's going to just make the next layer of paint have a shadowy kind of, it's hard to explain. It just enhances the next color of paint that's going on your doll, so that the next color of paint shows way better, and it gives that particular enhancement that you're trying to bring out some depth. And that can be a good thing if that's what you want. Now, if your doll has an expression that you think would make them look angry or mad or too expressive, if you don't highlight that part, don't highlight anything you don't want to show greater. It's going to show greater when you highlight it. So if you don't want it to show greater than it already shows, just don't highlight it. Highlighting with purple, like I said, darkens the area. I've seen artists use it on the lips. I personally do not. But if you wanted to, say, darken your lips very rapidly, which I don't do that because I like the way I do it better, but you can. I've seen plenty people put purple on the lips. And then when you put the red over it, it's automatically darker. But I don't like the hue of color you get when you do that. I like to go with the thinner layers of just the red color that I'm using. But it's strictly a preference. All of these things I'm mentioning are a preference. If you don't want to do them, you certainly do not have to do them. I'm going to shake this because it's not mixing well. I'm going to see if I can shake it and not get it all over my clothes. Got to be careful with these jars. Sometimes they leak, especially if the lid is old. I lots of times put a paper towel on it. The paint slamming up against the edges of the jar sometimes breaks up those granules. And sometimes you just have to work with granulated paint because there's no other way around it. Sometimes you can't get the granules out. Okay. And there are artists, I've heard of this, I've never seen an artist do it, who don't use paint thinner. They only use thinning medium. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how, but they do. Anyway, that's pretty good. We want our purple to be kind of dark. I'm not going to put any more stuff in it because it would make it too light. We want it to be kind of thickish. That's why it has so much thinning medium in it and only just a little bit of paint thinner. It needs to be dark. Purple. Now, where was that? Oh, I have a thing up there for purple. Okay. I've done the yellow. I can put that up. Okay, I have blue and warm blush. I really actually have a lot of blue. That is a lot of blue. I'm not going to mix blue, but I was going to explain blue. This is vein blue. It is a tealish color, if you'll see. It's not blue blue. I'm going to show you blue. I don't know what primary blue looks like, but this is called ultramarine blue. And you see they're super totally different. This one looks more like a vein would look. And this is just, I don't know. I don't even know why I have it, ultramarine blue, but I do. I think I got it to try to darken some paint with. But I don't use it, but I'm not ready to give it up yet, if that makes any sense. So now I'm going to mix some warm blush. It's one of the very important colors that you're going to use reborning. Warm blush. Oh, and I have to mix some 05 too. I'm not going to mix this color because, wait a minute, is this warm blush? Do I have another whole thing of warm blush? I think I do. Okay, I don't need to mix that. Okay, I need to mix 05. I have that one and that one in that color. I need to mix some more 05. I have only this. I was mixing in this, which I did mix in it. You can tell by the color on it. But it doesn't mix very much at one time. And of all the paints that you use, you're probably going to use this one, maybe red as much as this one. But you put 2 coats of this on. We use a lot of red in enhancements, but as far as just painting coats on a doll, we only ever usually put 1 coat of that color. I'm going to get the 05 down now. Try to find one that's opened already. Sometimes it's hard because, especially if you're like me and you order up ahead because it's on sale. I have a bunch of bottles of it. And, oh man, out of breath. And if you're ordering it up ahead of time, try not to open all of your bottles at the same time. If you just do that, I can tell that one's not opened yet. So you can tell because the lid won't come off easy because the seal is still on it. Yep, these are all unopened. I may have already finished up the last one I opened. I don't know yet. All of these feel like they're unopened. Yep, unopened. These 2 left. Usually there's some kind of little bit of paint on the lid where you got it on your finger or something, and when you were putting the, see, open. You're putting the lid back on, some off of your finger got on the lid. That's how I usually tell if it's been used or not. I always mix with a toothpick because if you don't, you're wasting too much paint mixing. Okay, this one is going to be darker than normal because, like I said, I am going to use so much of this that I can dilute it when I put it in the jar. I'm going to try to mix a whole 4 ounces of dark. So I'm putting a good bit of this in there. And I'm going to put a good bit of this in there as well. Put these jars close to each other so you don't spill all over your table. This is why you don't have to worry about cleaning out your bottle of thinning medium when you're finished with it, because you're going to put a glob of it in your paint anyway. So that's pretty good. Now I'm going to put a lot of this because I'm going to mix it dark so I can dilute it later. Having to dilute all this paint down, liquefy it with thinning medium and stuff is the biggest job that you'll have. The thinning part with the actual paint thinner is easy. You just put it until it looks right. But this part, you have to get it smooth, smooth, smooth. So the more you can mix at one time, pretty much the better. That should be enough. I do want to get all of it off the toothpick that I can, because we don't want to waste it. Okay, another throwaway. That's what I buy them for. Some people, you throw away a lot of those paint brushes. Well, that's what I buy them for. They're throwaway brushes. They're bought for that purpose only. I'm not going to clean paint out of a paintbrush, so throwaway is the way to go. Unless you like trying to clean them out. And with our brushes, we don't just get to dip them in water like air dry artists do. We have to clean them with paint thinner. Yuck and gross, and it's just a globby mess. And I don't like doing it, so I just get these. They're very, very cheap. I get them from Walmart, and they work very well. Yep, that's pretty smooth. Smooths right out, see? Just really, really good. Now, we can leave it like this and cut it later, or we can cut it part of the way now and finish cutting it later, or you can cut it all the way now. It's strictly your choice. Trying to get some of that paint off the paintbrush, but it's not working. I'm going with about half a jar of paint thinner. Clean this up as good as I can, and I'm going to shake it. Oh, this is just messy. I don't like mixing paint because it's messy. So a lot of times I'll just mix paint whether I need it or not, because I got the paint out and I'm mixing and I'm messing up my table and all that stuff. Might as well do it all. Might as well do all the colors and get it done. Use lots of paper towels, lots of baby wipes, lots of everything. I tightened it that tight. Okay, now test the color. I shouldn't have thrown that paintbrush away so quick, but I did. Oh, that's very light. That looks light to me. I don't know. It's pretty good though. I like it. Okay, we're going to keep that color, and we're going to test it out when it's time to thin it some more. It won't be long because this is all I have left of 05. It's a very used color. I could actually mix this too and have two of them. How sweet would that be? I just can't even understand what color was in this one. I think one time, I think this is what happened. I tried to mix up some of that lighter color of paint I had to use as a base coat on my dolls, but I just didn't like it, and I threw it out. I poured it out, and I kept the jar, but I didn't clean it. I think that's what happened. Okay, here we go. I'm going to mix this one too. If you haven't decided that you need to use some Exodus oil, I want to encourage you to do it because it's worth it. It comes from McPherson's in Canada, I believe. And it is a very good product. It lasts a long time. I've been using off of this bottle for a very long time. And it works very, very good. I believe they sell a paint line too, Exodus. I'm not sure. I've stuck with the Gemini all this time. I don't really want to try another kind. I did try a couple of other kinds. I didn't find them superior or anything, but they were more expensive. So I went back to Gemini. And in order to switch, I would think that you would need to have the new kind of paint be better. And I didn't find it better. I found it about the same. And the same is not good enough for me to buy a new kind of paint. Especially when you're already familiar with one kind and, I don't know, you're comfortable with it. If you're comfortable with it, why would you change anyway? Okay, that's going to be all I put in there. That's a lot of paint. And this little 4-ounce jar, same size as that other one, but this one is glass, and it's shorter and fatter. This is also empty. I could mix that one. This is the color I use the most of. It is the one that goes the quickest. It's the one you put 2 coats on. It's just used and used. And so it doesn't hurt to have extra on hand, especially when you don't like mixing paint like me. And you're going, I think I'll mix it up now. You can almost tell just by looking at the paint if it's dark enough. I don't find the 05 to be highly pigmented like the red is. The red is so highly pigmented that it is just too much, I think, almost. Now that has got a lot of paint in it, so there's no need to try to use it to dab paint onto a paper towel to see how dark it is. I'm just going to put the lid on it and put it over here with my other paint. And I think I'm going to mix this jar too. Come to think of it, I just think I am. I don't want to mix again for a while. I might actually get out that, what do you call it? Warm blush and mix some more of that. I don't have that much of that. I just have that one extra jar. See, this has already got thinning medium in it. So I'm just going to put some Exodus oil. Whether or not it's enough thinning medium is a question. So I'm just going to add a little bit extra to it. And then I'm going to mix the paint into it. Just like I did before. I'll probably use the rest of this jar. Now, if you mix a lot of paint like I do, you can actually put some thinning medium or some Exodus oil into this little jar to liquefy it down so that it will be easier the next time you mix to get the rest of it out. Because that is a lot of paint in there, I think. And for it to just be wasted is just ridiculous when you can get it out, because you're going to use this other stuff anyway to liquefy your paint, so you might as well liquefy it now. And it'll just pour out. And then you can save these little bitty jars. I've done it many, many times, but I have some little jars now. I don't really need to. But look at that, see? Just pours right out. Nothing left to have to throw away. And we're gonna mix this around a bit, get it creamy and smooth. Now this is way too dark, but that's okay, because like I said, we're gonna cut it when we put it in our jar to use it. I like to have some on hand like that for that purpose. Well, that's about all you're gonna get out of that jar anyway. So now you could wipe that out if you wanted to. I'm just gonna throw it away. Messy, messy. We're gonna cut this a bit. And it too will be ready. This doesn't go bad. I have an artist friend that does air dry, and she said if you leave the air dry paint too long, it will sour or something. I don't know, but this doesn't do that, so no worries at all. So there's that one. Now I'm going to get another jar from up here, and I'm going to go on and mix that other color, warm blush. It is a fairly used color as well, and I have plenty of these empty jars. I just need to get paint into them. This one was matte varnish, but I cleaned it, so it's good. Now, if matte varnish was in it, I do clean it out because it's a different medium than thinning medium. And you don't really need a bunch of matte varnish in your jar. Now, which one of these is already open? None of them appear to be, but let's see. Huh, first one I opened. Okay. I'm going to glob a whole bunch of this in there. And I'm just going to use this flesh brush. It won't make any difference to get it off and everything and mix it around. Messy, messy, messy. And then we'll have an extra jar of that ready to go. Very creamy, very nice. This won't be anywhere near the right color. It's going to be way too dark. But that's okay. It's going to be cut again when it goes into the painting jar. These are just mixing jars. I just use them to mix with, and then I'll put the finished color in the mixing jar. And the painting jar, rather. So, let's get this top on here. Mix it up real good. Oh, and you can just tell by looking at that it's way, 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 way too dark. But that's okay. We're good with that. So now we have mixed almost all of our colors of paint. I'm going to clean this jar the best that I can, anyway. Eugh, messy, messy. It is very messy to do this. I'm going to need to scrub my hands for sure when I get done with this. This jar will be fine for remixing red. No other color. Look at my hands. Ugh. I think I have plenty red mixed up already, so I'm not going to mix any more red. So that is done with that. I'm going to test this other color that I'm unsure about. It's this one that I reconstituted from a jar of dried up stuff. I don't even know if it's usable, but we're about to find out. I've sure used some sponges today. Okay, here we go. I don't really know what color was in this one, but I'm going to clean it a bit, and then I'm going to use it in this one. Okay. Oh, that is thick and pink. Look at that color. Let's see. I might like it. Who knows? I need a place where I ain't already put color yet. Actually, not a bad color. It's just light. Oh, I'm keeping that. Yes, yes, well, we're keeping that color. I like that color. It adds just a little bit of blushy color, but it's not super harsh or anything. Oh, I think I like it. I think I'm keeping it. I used this. It was glazing gel, not thinning medium. Bountiful Baby used to sell Genesis glazing gel. It offered a shimmery look to your doll, and it was for lips and stuff. And so that's what I mixed my color in for my lips. But it dries, it just dried out. And I guess I mixed too much of it and it got globby. And I wanted to see if I could save it because, well, you know, Genesis went out and there was no more Genesis to be had. So, of course, everybody wants Genesis. So I decided to go on and try to reconstitute it. So I put Exodus oil in it, I put thinning medium in it, and every day almost I shook it around in that jar to see if I could reconstitute it. Well, it reconstituted all right, but it was a funny looking color, so I didn't know if it would be okay or not. But evidently it is, so I'm going to use it. I am putting all of these back up on the shelf. Trying to anyway. Once again, I'm going to have to change my table. Okay, I think we're going to proceed with Cutie. I don't think I messed him up in any way. I think he'll paint just fine. Yes, I used him for a practice kit, but only on his head part that's going to be covered with hair. And it's not like he's a super wonderful sculpt anyway. So, whatever. We're going to proceed with him. But I'm going to change my table first. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like it dirty. I don't change it often enough as it is. So, here we go. I'm not starting him in this video. I'm just changing my table because this video is long enough. That's how you mix paint. I'm going to put this one second in the series. I've already made an introduction series. Mixing paint will be the second one. I'm going to be saving this video for the next tutorial I do. So there's a mixing paint tutorial for everybody to see. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And happy reborning.